All right, we're back inside with a little bit of heat. Uh, Hopefully that turned out halfway decent. That was our first time with a remote microphone and trying to do it live, outside. Uh, we we learned a few things. We need to turn the camera around where Virginia can see what's going on. Instead of like I normally do it when I'm just recording myself and I'm actually watching myself while I do it. But like I say, hopefully y'all got some good out of that. That's the 5x5 drill. It is to be shot cold. There is not necessarily temperature, even though it is a little chilly today. I think it was 27 when I got up, and it's 32 now. But there's no warm ups, there's no mulligans. So you shoot it the way you shoot it. And I messed up a couple times. I flipped my safety on when I did my reload and didn't realize it. And I thought I had a malfunction for a second, and that kind of slowed me down. And my timing wasn't very good, but now I couldn't tell you the last time I've shot. Now I have done my dry fire practice, but you know, I'm not where I need to be. Uh, but that is the 5x5. I will put the times for the classifications in the description. If you do not have a shot timer, I use a pack timer. They're about 130 bucks. There is an app for that, like everything else. It's an ISPC shot timer. It's not as good. Sometimes it doesn't pick the shots up, but it's free. So, and I'll put that in the description as well. One thing I would recommend, going back to gear a little bit, when you're looking at your gear, when you pick up and you're looking at a pistol or a revolver, either one, to make sure it fits you. Now, it's still clear I haven't recharged it with live ammunition, but I want you to take a firing grip, and you should be able to draw, and I don't know how I'm going to do this and y'all see it, a straight line from your front sight, your rear sight, your wrist into your elbow. This should be all one line. It shouldn't be cocked either way. I hope that makes sense, because, well, let me see how to, this is as close as I can get, and it's not real good, but it should be a straight line from here to here to here, all the way to here. All this should be one line. The second thing that's as is important, this is a hand singular gun, not a hands plural gun. Now, if we can shoot both hands, absolutely, that's what we want. Makes life so much simpler. But if it has any type of controls, if it has a safety, anything that you have to manipulate, you must be able to do it one-handed. Some of the older single action, double action pistols back in the 80s would have a safety and a decocking lever up here on the slide. And for people with small hands, it was difficult to get their thumb up, and because a lot of them you would push it up to push it off. And maybe they were in a department where the policy was they kept the safety on, Well, they would actually have to take their other hand and flip it up to get the safety off. Now, this safety is more like a 1911. It's frame mounted, and I can get it with the trigger finger or the thumb, either one, doesn't matter. The only thing I really don't like is it's actually too easy to use. It flips off and on a little lighter than I would like. But make sure you can run it one-handed. Last thing, back to triggers. Do not get too light of a trigger. Light triggers are easy to shoot. They're fun because it makes shooting easier. However, they also, if your hands are cold, like mine were today, you're wearing gloves, maybe you're injured, it's too easy when that trigger finger goes in for that round to come off. I've got a Romanian 1063 Wasser AK-47 or an AKM, and there's a company called ALG, and they make a trigger for the AK-47. Excellent trigger, Beautiful trigger. That thing is too cotton picking light. I put it in. It's so far ahead of the ConBlock trigger. It's night and day. I don't have a trigger scale. I bet that thing's 2 pounds. 4.5 minimum is between 4 and 5 is where I would want to be minimum. I swear that trigger's so light, if you stare at it, it goes off. Well, if you're moving, if your adrenaline's pumping, your fine motor skills have degraded a little bit because of an adrenaline dump, and you're more into the gross motor skills, it's too easy for that to touch a round off. And so that is the reason my Wasser does not have an AOG trigger. It's got a ConBlock trigger back in. The trigger itself is excellent. But remember, mission drives the gear. For my mission for a weapon that is set up for defense, it was too light. That wasn't the trigger's fault. That's not the manufacturer's fault. I'm not dogging AOG. They sell an excellent product at a very reasonable price. But for my mission, it was not appropriate. And again, that's no disparaging comment against AOG. But for me, it was a little too light. So that's why the ConBlock's back in. So, you as the old saying is, you do you, but I would hesitate about messing with my triggers where my triggers get too light, A crisp trigger, if I can get a crisp trigger, yeah, that's different, But if we're doing any modifications, make sure there's a good reason why we're doing the modification. Does it fulfill a need, or does it solve a problem that I have with this platform? Or is this what the cool kids have right now? Because the cool kids are going to change in 6 months and they're going to go to something else entirely, and you'll go broke trying to keep up with them. When you look at Glocks or handguns, they'll lighten the slides. They'll cut lightning cuts. Looks good. Looks sharp. Couple problems. One, that's an egress point for grit, trash that may cause a malfunction. Second thing is tolerance stacking. There was an old mechanic when I was growing up. Well, I say old. He was probably 10 years older than me. Late 20s. But when I'm 16, 17 years old, he was old as dirt. And I had no pickup. I was messing with, and he told me something that I didn't listen to, and I wish I had it. He said, never hot rod your daily driver because of tolerance stacking. That truck is designed for specific specifications, and it's got tolerances plus and minus. Those are engineered in. You start changing stuff, you start messing stuff up. Reliability goes south. Yeah, that 292 duration cam is a lump. Sounds bad. Oh, yes. But is it affecting your gas mileage? Is it affecting your reliability? Is it something you want to drive to work every day? Or you got to get up 2 hours before it's time to go to work on the car to get the crank, let it idle for 30 minutes to warm up. You put a 750 double pumper Holley on it, and that 292 duration cam on that 440. And next thing you know, will the transmission hold it? Will the rear end hold it? And my universal joint's going to handle it, the extra torque. You start jacking them trucks up, putting lift kits, bigger tires. All of a sudden the handling's different. Going around curves is different. It's no different with this right here. You start putting those lightning cuts in, you start lightening your slide, that affects your recoil spring, because your recoil spring is full power ammunition running on this weight slide. You're changing your tolerances or your specifications, which change your tolerances. You may lose your reliability. So unless there's a true legitimate reason, don't mess with it. Now, like I was talking about the sights, absolutely. That was a problem. Plastic sight, shear off. Make sure that rear sight has a ledge. Don't get the Novak tapered if you want to use it for self-defense where you can rack that slide off a hard object. Nothing wrong with Novak sights. Love them. They look sharp, but they're tapered. They're at a bevel, and it's hard to catch them. So, hope you enjoyed it in our first range video. There'll be more. we'll go over more drills. We're going to do the 100-7 probably next week. So comments, questions, criticisms, witticisms, put them in the comment box. I can help you, let me know. As always, we remain your humble and obedient servant, John Osbrook. Have a good day.